Hello and welcome to Newsweek South Asia, your one-stop destination for in-depth analysis of security challenges, regional conflicts and the evolving threat of terrorism. Let's take a look at the headlines first. India-US urge Pakistan to act against cross-border terrorism. India remembers its martyrs on the 6th anniversary of the Pulwama attacks. And Pakistan, the global epicenter of terrorism, India slams Islamabad at UNSC. In yet another diplomatic setback for Pakistan, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump have issued a scathing joint statement, demanding that Islamabad crack down on cross-border terrorism. The statement has left Pakistan reeling, exposing its duplicity in sheltering terror outfits while claiming to be a victim of terrorism. Adding to Islamabad's embarrassment, Trump has approved the extradition of 26/11 terror attack accused Tahawwur Rana to India, a long pending demand by New Delhi. Here's the full report.
Pakistan is once again in the global spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Joint statement by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump has made it clear that Islamabad cannot continue to play the victim by providing safe havens to terrorists. The statement, issued after a high-profile meeting in Washington DC, calls on Pakistan to ensure that its territory is not used for cross-border terror attacks, an indirect but damning indictment of the country's long history of harboring terrorist groups. Islamabad predictably reacted with indignation. Pakistan's Foreign Affairs spokesperson Shafkat Ali Khan feebly attempted to dismiss the joint statement as one-sided, misleading and contrary to diplomatic norms. But the truth remains that Pakistan's track record on counter-terrorism has been riddled with deceit and half measures.
Pakistan is also deeply concerned over planned transfer of advanced military technologies to India. Such steps accentuate military imbalances in the region and undermine strategic stability. They remain unhelpful in achieving the objective of a durable peace in South Asia. We urge our international partners to take a holistic and objective view of the issues of peace and security in South Asia and refrain from endorsing positions that are one-sided and divorced from ground realities.
Pakistan said on February 14 that it was deeply concerned a day after President Donald Trump said that the US will increase military sales to India starting in 2025 and eventually provide F-35 fighter jets. The spokesperson's remark came after a series of agreements emerged from talks between President Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the White House. In a joint statement released, both leaders announced a new 10-year defense framework and a significant expansion of military cooperation to increase their partnership in the Indo-Pacific region.
Starting this year, we'll be increasing military sales to India by many billions of dollars. We're also paving the way to ultimately provide India with the F-35 stealth fighters. In 2017, my administration revived and reinvigorated the Quad security partnership. In our meeting today, the Prime Minister and I reaffirmed that strong cooperation among the United States, India, Australia, and Japan. And it's crucial, really, to maintaining peace and prosperity, tranquility, even in the Indo-Pacific.
In a major diplomatic victory for India, US President Donald Trump has also approved the extradition of Tahawwur Rana, a key conspirator in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, to face justice in India. The move is a crushing blow to Pakistan, which has long been accused of shielding terrorists who orchestrate attack beyond its borders. Trump, in his blunt and direct style, left no room for doubt.
Today I'm pleased to announce that my administration has approved the extradition of one of the plotters and one of the very evil people of the world, and having to do with the horrific 2008 Mumbai terrorist attack, to face justice in India. So he's going to be going back to India.
Rana, a Canadian national of Pakistani origin, has been detained in Los Angeles, awaiting his transfer to India. This extradition marks a significant step in holding Pakistan-backed terrorists accountable for their crimes. To further drive home the point, the joint statement explicitly named global terror groups including Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, Jaish-e-Mohammad and Lashkar-e-Taiba, many of which have found shelter and support on Pakistani soil. It also demanded that Pakistan swiftly bring to justice the perpetrators of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, a case where the mastermind continued to roam free despite overwhelming evidence of their involvement. Adding to Islamabad woes, Trump has already suspended $845 million in funding for projects in Pakistan, a strong message that the US will no longer bankroll a country that continues to sponsor terrorism under the grab of strategic alliances. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, standing alongside Trump, reinforced the urgency of eradicating the terrorism at its roots and ensuring global security.
भारत और अमेरिका दृढ़ता से साथ खड़े रहे। हम सहमत हैं कि सीमा पार आतंकवाद के उन्मूलन के लिए ठोस कार्रवाई आवश्यक है और मैं राष्ट्रपति जी का आभारी हूं। उन्होंने 2008 के जिसने भारत में नरसंहार किया, उस मुजरिम को अब भारत के हवाले करने का निर्णय किया। भारत की अदालतें उचित कार्रवाई करेंगी।
The joint statement also highlighted the need to prevent the mushrooming of weapons of mass destruction, another area that Pakistan's credibility is under severe doubt. As Pakistan scrambles to control the damage, it faces an undeniable truth. The world is watching, and its double game of supporting terrorism while seeking international aid is being called out at the highest levels.
Moving on, from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to other leaders of the governing party and opposition leaders to common people, Indians paid their respects to the slain soldiers on the 6th anniversary of the dastardly 14th February terrorist attack on its paramilitary forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district. The Fidaiin attack carried out by Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammad had claimed 40 Central Reserve Police Force personnel lives. India had then launched a massive operation involving the elimination of the terrorist group's module in hours after the attack and aerial strikes on terrorist camps in Balakot, a region in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, where all the terrorists are nurtured under the Pakistan establishment's direct watch. As a convoy carrying over 2,500 paramilitary personnel moved along a highway in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama, a suicide bomber rammed a vehicle packed with 80 kg of explosives into a bus carrying 40 CRPF soldiers. The gut-wrenching visuals of the attack still evoke grief and anger, marking one of the deadliest terror incidents in India's history. In response, Indian security forces launched a two-pronged counter-offensive, neutralizing multiple terrorists on the ground and carrying out precision airstrikes in Balakot. However, the wounds of the attack remain fresh as the nation continues to mourn its fallen heroes.
हमारे जवानों ने जो शहादत दी है वो इनका नाम स्वर्ण अक्षरों से हमेशा अमर रहे और इनको हम जैसे जब भी इनकी ये 14 फरवरी आएगी इसको हम काला दिवस के रूप में हमेशा मनाते रहेंगे और इन जवानों की श्रद्धांजलि को हम कभी नहीं भूल पाएंगे.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, senior leaders from the government and opposition, and citizens across India took to social media to pay respects to the martyred soldiers. To mark the anniversary, citizens organized processions condemning Pakistan's continued support for terrorism and demanding justice for the fallen heroes.
पुलवामा में जो हमारे शहीद जिन्होंने 14 फरवरी 2019 को जो है अपनी जान की जो शहादत पाई थी, तो आज उसी के सिलसिले में हमें उन्हें श्रद्धांजलि देने के लिए हम बाद नमाज मगरिब जो है वो हमने नमाज पढ़ने के बाद बच्चों ने, बुजुर्गों ने और सब ने जो है उनके लिए दुआ गो हुए। हम अल्लाह रब्बुल इज़्ज़त से ये दुआ करते हैं कि उन्हें जन्नत अल फिरदौस में आला मुकाम हासिल हो और उनकी आत्मा को शांति दे। उनके जो भी अहले खाना है, भगवान उनको जो एक सुकून की ज़िंदगी है वो अता करे। इसके साथ साथ हमने पूरे मुल्क के लिए, बिलखसूस जम्मू कश्मीर के लिए ये दुआ मांगी कि कुछ अंदरूनी साजिशें और कुछ बैरूनी जो ताकतें हैं जो हमारे मुल्क को जो एक साजिश के तहत जो है कुछ अनासर ऐसे हम उनके लिए दुआ की कि जो नज़र लगी है हमारे मुल्क को, अल्लाह रब्बुल इज़्ज़त उनसे बचाए।
The long-standing challenge of cross-border terrorism.
Since the attack, India has presented irrefutable evidence to Pakistan, exposing the presence of terrorist groups operating on its soil. However, Islamabad has refused to take any meaningful action, continuing to shield and sponsor these groups.
During investigation, the NIA filed charge sheet in the court of law and presenting all the evidence how the explosive material was smuggled in, how a boy was motivated to become a suicide bomber, a vehicle was procured, and all this execution of terror incident of Pulwama attack happened. Everything is on record. I don't want to repeat that, but I think involvement of Pakistan is known to everyone all across the world, not only India, and there is very, very hard evidence against them. So let them, they say one day something, the other day something else. They continue with their policy of bleed India by 1,000 cuts and jihad and Ghazwa-e-Hind.
India's security forces have remained vigilant against further terror threats. In 2024 alone, security operations in Jammu and Kashmir led to the neutralization of 75 terrorists, with 60% identified as Pakistani nationals, further underscoring Pakistan's deep-rooted involvement in cross-border terrorism. Despite a military-level ceasefire agreement, Pakistan continues to violate peace efforts by waging a proxy war against India. In recent days, cross-border firing along the line of control has escalated, with Pakistan's Border Action Team attempting infiltrations into Indian territory. Security reports confirm that Pakistan maintains multiple terror launch pads along the LOC to facilitate infiltration attempts into India.
There is no change of heart in Pakistan's deep state, the Pakistan's army and ISI, and they continue. They have not closed the training camps, launch pads. Whenever they get opportunity, they try to infiltrate people, realizing that Kashmir is slipping out of their hands, particularly after abrogation of Article 370, and things have tremendously improved. Infiltration has come down, the local recruitment has come down. So under Asif Munir, the Pakistan army is trying to revive Pak-sponsored terrorism in Kashmir. So one major pillar is infiltration, and for infiltration, terror launching pads are important. So they continue all along the LOC and the IB sector.
Despite mounting global pressure, Pakistan continues to provide financial, logistical and operational support to terrorist groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammad and Hizbul Mujahideen. These groups thrive in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, receiving weapons and ideological training under the supervision of Pakistan's inter-services intelligence and military establishment. The Financial Action Task Force and the United Nations have repeatedly censored Pakistan for its state-sponsored terrorism. Yet, Islamabad remains defiant, using POJK as a safe haven to fuel instability in the region. As India remembers its martyrs, it remains resolute in its fight against terrorism, ensuring that those responsible pay the price for their actions. At a high-stakes United Nations Security Council debate, India launched a scathing attack on Pakistan, calling it the global epicenter of terrorism. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador P. Harish, strongly condemned Islamabad's role in fostering cross-border terrorism while responding to remarks made by Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mohammad Ishaqdar. A report.
Pakistan is a global epicenter of terrorism, harboring more than 20 UN-listed terrorist entities and providing state support to cross-border terrorism.
Speaking at the United Nations Security Council meeting chaired by China, Ambassador Harish highlighted Pakistan's state-sponsored terror infrastructure, which harbors more than 20 UN-listed terrorist organizations, including Jaish-e-Mohammad and Harkat-ul-Mujahideen. He exposed the supreme irony of Pakistan portraying itself as a victim of terrorism while actively sheltering and financing terror groups that operate against India and beyond. Pakistan-based terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammad have been behind some of the most heinous attacks in India, including the 2008 Mumbai attacks, the 2016 Pathankot Air Base attack, and the 2019 Pulwama suicide bombing. These groups continue to operate freely with state backing, posing a severe threat to regional and global security.
Pakistan is a global epicenter of terrorism, harboring more than 20 UN-listed terrorist entities and providing state support to cross-border terrorism. Hence, it is a supreme irony when Pakistan pats itself on the back as being at the forefront of the fight against terrorism. India has been a victim of the acts of terror perpetrated by this country through terror groups such as Jaish-e-Mohammad and Harkat-ul-Mujahideen, among dozens of others. Mr. President, there cannot be any justification for terrorism regardless of its form, type, and motive. No political grievance can justify terrorism perpetrated against innocent civilians. This august body can make no distinction between good and bad terrorists. And I request the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Pakistan to take note of it and not further waste the time of the Council in this regard.
The Indian envoy also took China to task for repeatedly blocking proposals submitted by India and its allies, including the United States, to blacklist Pakistan-based terrorists at the UN. He reaffirmed that there can be no justification for terrorism regardless of its form, type, or political motive. In a strong rebuttal to Pakistan's Kashmir rhetoric, Harish dismissed Islamabad's attempts to internationalize the issue, calling Jammu and Kashmir an integral and inalienable part of India. He pointed to the high voter turnout in the region's democratic elections, stating that the people of Kashmir have chosen peace, progress, and democracy, unlike Pakistan, which continues to suppress its own minorities and dissenting voices.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan, Mr. Mohammad Ishaqdar, has referred to an integral and inalienable part of India, the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, in his remarks. I would like to reaffirm that Jammu and Kashmir has been, is, and will always be an integral and inalienable part of India. In fact, it is Pakistan that is in illegal occupation of parts of Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan's campaigns of misinformation and disinformation, of lies and falsehood, do not change facts on the ground. The people of Jammu and Kashmir have only last year taken part in a successful election and have voted in large numbers to choose their government. The choice of the people of Jammu and Kashmir was loud and clear. Democracy in Jammu and Kashmir is vibrant and strong, unlike in Pakistan.
New Delhi's strong message at the UNSC aligns with global concerns over Islamabad's role as a safe haven for terrorists. The Financial Action Task Force placed Pakistan on the grey list from 2018 to 2022 for failing to curb terror financing. Additionally, Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of 9/11, was found and killed in Abbottabad, just miles away from Pakistan's military academy. From the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan to rising attacks on foreign nationals in Pakistan, Islamabad's complicity in terror networks remains a major concern for the global community. India has once again exposed Pakistan's double game, pretending to fight terrorism while actively sponsoring it. With mounting global scrutiny, the question remains, will the world finally hold Pakistan accountable for being the epicenter of terrorism? Pakistan's soaring inflation has pushed millions to the brink, making even basic necessities unaffordable for ordinary citizens. As prices of essential commodities continue to rise, daily survival has become an uphill battle, especially for those living paycheck to paycheck. Instead of relief, unchecked profiteering by traders has only worsened the crisis, leaving the public frustrated and helpless. With little government intervention to curb the price hikes, economic mismanagement and corruption remain key drivers of the worsening situation. The question remains, how much longer can the people endure this growing financial strain? In many Islamic nations, as well as in non-Muslim countries, with significant Muslim populations, special provisions are made to facilitate fasting during Ramadan. Governments and charitable organizations collaborate to provide essential goods at discounted prices, easing the burden on families during this sacred time. However, the situation in Pakistan is markedly different. As Ramadan approaches, Pakistan is grappling with a sharp rise in inflation, driving up the cost of essential commodities and making it increasingly difficult for ordinary citizens to make ends meet. Instead of offering relief to the public during this holy month, traders, particularly in major cities like Karachi, are significantly raising prices. This has sparked widespread frustration and financial strain among the population, making the spirit of Ramadan harder to embrace.
दुनिया में क्रिश्चियन, यूरोप में हिंदू बरादरी भी इंडिया में पैसे कम करती है और यहाँ के ताजिर लोगों को लूटने के लिए महंगाई की इंतहा पर चले जाते हैं। ताजिर बरादरी जो है वो मुल्क को चाटने में पाकिस्तान के सियासतदानों की तरह इन्वॉल्व है। वो मुल्क को खा रहे हैं, जैसे सियासतदान जो है ना अपने खर्चे पूरे करने के लिए पब्लिक पर बोझ डालते हैं।
In a country where a significant portion of the population lives paycheck to paycheck, the rising costs of essential goods have placed a considerable burden on families that were already living on the edge. For many, even meeting their basic transportation needs has become an overwhelming challenge. What makes the situation even more dire is the growing inability to afford essential festive items for the holy month, such as special foods, new clothes, or even basic gifts.
पाकिस्तानी हम जो ना 2 नंबर के मुसलमान हैं। जब भी महंगाई या ऐसे त्योहारों का मौका आता है तो ये चीज़ें ना आसमान तक चढ़ा देते हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि चीज़ें सस्ती हो जाए ताकि गरीब भी जो ना इस मुक़द्दस महीने में आराम से रोज़े रख सके और उसको रिलीफ मिल सके।
The situation in Pakistan is a reflection of deeper issues that have plagued the country for years: rampant inflation, mismanagement, and corruption. With little intervention from the government to control prices, people are left to fend for themselves, traveling long distances or going without the festive items that once symbolized this holy month. As the government continues to grapple with economic instability and corruption, the question remains, how long will the common people continue to bear the weight of this crisis? For now, it seems that Ramadan in Pakistan is marked not by the spirit of giving, but by a painful reminder of the ongoing struggles faced by its citizens. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.